I'm still learning. I'm still a student. I don't have it all
Yeah.
figured out. Invest your time, your energy, your hustle, your drive, but not your money until you're making some money. Most people wake up and they don't know what to do.
Welcome to another episode of To Serve with Love. I am Brenda Flores Robles, and today's guest is international and motivational speaker Evan Carmichael. Woo!
Thank you. Thank you for the love, Brenda. Appreciate the energy. I love the name. I have a book called Built to Serve. So this is all coming together today here.
That's
I love
right.
it.
We're all serving. I'm serving with love, and you're building the serve inside.
I love it.
Okay, so what is it about this belief campaign that you have?
I think it's the world's biggest problem. I think the biggest problem people have is they don't believe in themselves enough. I think everybody has what I call Michael Jordan level genius at something. So you're the greatest in the world at something,
Mm-hmm.
but it's probably not what you went to school for,
Yeah.
and it's probably not what your parents did, and it's probably not even what are you doing here? Like this. If you were, a 16-year-old student thinking about your future, like
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna start this live stream show and
Yes.
interview authors, right? Like it's wild, it's crazy. And so it starts with the belief that you are great at something, that you are world class at something, and then chasing it down. Too many people just don't think that they are, and so they don't. Whatever problem you think is big, cancer, I think the woman who
Mm-hmm.
solves cancer should have already solved it, but instead she's a manager at an accounting firm hating her life because she never went to med school and didn't believe in herself enough to chase it down. And so
Wow.
that's the problem that I'm trying to solve, to unlock as many people as possible before I go.
That's amazing. Do you believe in yourself?
uh I do, and it's my biggest problem, right? Like, this is whatever your most important core value is.
Uh-huh.
When you figure it out, it's your biggest strength and your biggest weakness. So I believe in myself to do everything that I've currently done, and it's the single biggest thing I still need to overcome to help me get to where I need to go. So that's why I still make my YouTube content. I'm still learning. I'm still a student. I don't have it all
Yeah.
figured out. So yeah, lack of belief is still the biggest problem that I have, and I'm trying to battle with it every day to go off and accomplish even more things.
Oh, that's amazing. So what were some of your challenges when you when someone is lacking belief in themselves?
The challenges are that you just don't do anything. The challenges are that you live in a really negative space, thinking that,
Mm-hmm.
well, this is all that there is to life, and I can't do anything more. And well, look at how my parents ended up. So I guess I'll just be like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just never happy. You just constantly feel like you're stuck. But I think people feel like they're capable of more.
Mm-hmm.
They just tend to look back and look at the negatives to say, oh, I should have done this and I should have done that, and now I'm kind of stuck and I can't do anything else. And that all stems from a lack of belief to be able to change your life now and create something better.
Yeah, I agree with you. My thing, yours is belief, but my thing is jump in. You got to jump in, no matter what you are going after. You have to just do it, and then you have to understand the feeling that you're feeling.
100%. I love it. I'm trying to get people to jump in, to move from the idea that they have for something to then actually launching it, right? So like this show, for example, when was your first show?
In July.
July. Awesome.
This year.
I love it.
So all this year I've been jumping in.
I love it. Now, when did you first think about doing the show?
Oh, I thought about it like a couple of months ago. I mean, before July.
Right. And so I'm obsessed with closing that gap. The fact that you did it in a couple months is great. A lot of people, that's a couple of decades and they never do anything. Mm-hmm. I want to take the couple months to today.
Yeah.
Talking about jumping, like it's trusting your big ideas. I started a podcast with a friend of mine named Mark, that we just recorded, where a year and a half ago, I was driving through the desert in Texas on my way to New Mexico. And I had an idea in my head that says, I'm going to start a podcast with Mark Jager.
Mm-hmm.
I don't listen to podcasts. I'm on a lot of podcasts. I'm a visual guy, so audio alone is really hard for me. I've never thought about having a podcast. I don't know where this idea is coming from, but I've trained myself to get the brain out of the way and say the big ideas that come to me, I have to give them energy and not judge them and not find out all the reasons why I suck and can't do it.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to do it. So I told my wife, who was sitting next to me in the car, Nina, we need to get Mark Jigger on a call right now. Driving through the Texas desert. We need Mark Jigger on a call right now. And it took like 20 minutes or whatever to get him out of his meeting that he was in to talk to me about my crazy idea in the desert. And I said, Mark, I want to do a podcast with you. He's like, I would love to do that. Okay, great. So let me plan it out and we'll figure out when I'm back from my tour. Like, Mark, no, we're not waiting until I'm back from my tour in 2 months. It's like, well, when do you want to start? Tonight. What do you mean, when do I want to start? We're starting tonight, dude.
I love that.
I'm driving to New Mexico. I'm going to get to my Airbnb. I hopefully they have decent internet and we're going to do the podcast. He's like, but what's the format going to be? I don't know. We'll figure it out. Like, well, what about the structure? What are the questions? What are we talking about? Mark, I have no idea. We'll figure it out. We're launching tonight. Like, if you don't want to do it tonight, I'm not doing the podcast. And so we had our first episode that night when I landed in New Mexico. And every week since then, for a year and a half, we're on season 4 now. We've done our podcast. And it's changed so much over that time, right? Just like I'm sure your show, it's October now recording. You started in July. I'm sure it's changed a lot.
Oh, yes. I know how to work it. I know how to work those buttons because the first one was a disaster.
But it's supposed to be a disaster, right? Like, Brenda, why do you think you're going to be great at something the first time you do it? But this is why we don't just jump, because we expect to be great. So we don't jump in because you expect to be great. And then because you know you won't be great, you don't do the thing. And that's not you. That's you. That's me. That's everybody. Right. So I'm trying to shortcut that. Expect to suck. Like, you may not have even heard of StreamYard before. You just go and you go live, right? You pull out your phone and you go live and say, hey, it's Brenda. I want to start a show. I don't know what I'm going to talk about, but it's in my head and I want to show myself that I do it. And I know the audio sucks and the lighting sucks and the gear sucks and I'm tired of waiting on things. So I'm going to start this is episode 1.
Yes.
I hope you enjoy. Right? Like, that's the greatest episode of all time. And so now listen, you started, you did it. You only waited a couple months. That's great. But a lot of people wait years or decades or never do it at all. And I just want to give permission to people to shorten that gap and just jump in and do it and expect it to be total garbage. It doesn't mean that you suck as a human.
Yes.
It just means you don't have the skills yet. Well, how do you get the skills? By doing the thing, practicing, right? Jumping in. So, I mean, we're super aligned. Even the message about love, I think belief is just self-love. They're like not exactly the same, but sisters. Anyway, I went on a little rant there, but you got me fired up. You got me fired up, Brenda. You got me fired up here in the house. We're doing it.
All right. So, when did you decide to be an emotional speaker?
So I don't know that I even classify myself as a motivational speaker. But I sold my first business when I was 22 and I got asked to do some speaking to help. It was a kind of young entrepreneur success story. Come and speak at our events. And the first one that I did in Canada, where I'm from, Toronto, was at a YMCA. And they had an entrepreneur program. And they said, hey, can you speak to our group of entrepreneurs? No budget. I mean, I wasn't being paid to do anything. It's totally free. I said, okay, when is it going to happen? A couple months. Okay. I got a couple months. The fact that it was in the future made it easier to say yes, right? It's like, oh, it's in a couple months. Oh, sure.
No,
happy to do it for a couple months, which is like the most stressful couple months. Thinking, what am I going to say? And how am I going to practice? And what's going to be on my slides? And just stressing out. And then finally the day comes where, okay, it's a couple months later. My palms are sweaty. I'm nervous. I'm walking to the building and they did all this promotion and we booked this big room at the YMCA. And I walk in and my heart's beating and I go into the room and there's 3 people in the room. and my heart just sank. It's like, oh my gosh, I did all this work and all this prep, and I was so nervous, and we thought it was going to be such a big turnout, and only
Mhm.
3 people showed up to a free thing. Like, how am I ever going to make this into a business if only 3 people show up to a
I know.
free thing?
Yes.
And after that, split second, I said, well, I'm here. I don't want to
Mhm.
disappoint people, so I'll do it. I prepared anyway. Might as well get up and do my thing, and
Mhm.
just hopefully help the 3 people who are here. And Brenda, felt awesome. Like, I left with my soul lifted. And the 4 of us went to the
Uh-huh.
Starbucks afterwards, and we continued to talk after
Oh, that's
the YMCA kind
amazing.
of kicked us out
Uh-huh.
the day. And I remember after they all left thinking, I don't know if I'm ever going to make money doing this,
Mhm.
but I have to keep doing this, just of how great I felt for the contribution, for the service, for the love that was kind of poured in.
Mhm.
Um, so that was when I was 22. I'm 40 now. And I just kept going. I struggled. I sucked. Wasn't very good at the beginning at any of this stuff. I'm introverted. I'm shy. So none of it came natural. But I wanted to serve. I wanted to help. It made me feel good. And so I kept chasing it down.
Are you still shy now?
Oh yeah, I'm still introverted. I'm still shy. I still get panic attacks going on stage. I have no desire to be famous. Yeah, it's an ongoing struggle. The bigger
Mhm.
stuff, right? So the stuff
Mhm.
I've done a lot, the energy you're getting now is because I've been doing this all day. So it's actually like I gain more energy, right? And
Uh-huh.
after you, I have 3 more. And and
Oh,
so,
that's
like,
awesome. I love
your
it.
energy is
Uh-huh.
is filling me up. I'm gonna
Mhm.
bring even more love to the next person because of our time together.
Uh-huh.
So this Evan is the accumulation of all of the people that have come kind
Uh-huh.
of before you today. But it's hard to get started, and especially on the bigger stuff, speaking on stage to a big audience, or even a small audience who earlier this year, they paid $30,000 to $50,000 to be there.
Mhm.
And I go, oh my gosh, what am I going to tell these people? I better have something mind blowing for them, because what am I here for? I'm gonna let
Uh-huh.
everybody down. Um, yeah, so that's always in the back of my head when I'm doing something new.
Mhm.
And so then it goes, okay, well, how do you stop it? How do you save it? The 2 strategies that I use are, one, that I do difficult things.
Uh-huh.
That I want to teach myself that when I'm scared, I do it. When I'm nervous, I do it. That I want to make decisions that make me feel proud. That I don't want to walk away and then have to live with the fact that I walked away instead of doing it. So
Yes.
Evan Carmichael does difficult things is constantly the voice. And then I balance that with, I'm here to serve. So I'll often look out at the audience and look at the people there, and like, I'm not here for me. I'm here
Mhm.
for them. I've got something that can help them, and I have to go off and do my thing to help them. And that combination calms me down
Mhm.
and helps me go up on stage and do my thing. I've never blanked out or vomited or anything crazy. This, I guess there's still time for that.
Yeah.
Um, but I remember speaking at Brendan Burchard's event last year, late last year,
Mhm.
and I don't have slides anymore on my presentation. So he had me speak for an hour to his group of a couple thousand people, and I was blanking. I'm backstage. They're introducing me,
Oh, okay.
and they're hyping you up and all this stuff, right? They hype you up, and I forgot what I was going to say. I forgot my speech. I forgot my presentation. I forgot how I was going to lead, and I'm blanking out backstage, panicking that
Uh-huh.
I'm going to get on stage, and
Mm.
Dean Graziosi is introducing me, and I don't know what to say. Like, hi. That's literally what's going on in my head, like full on panic attack backstage. And so both of those things, Evan, hey, you do difficult things. Let's go.
Mhm.
And then look to the audience from behind the curtain. Like, I'm here for these people. I'm here to serve. This is your chance to do it. It's not about you. And so balancing those 2 things is the thing that gets me through the fears, the nerves, the anxiety.
Thank you. In your book, Built to Serve, how did you start? What got you inspired to write this book?
So I was doing a tour last year.
Mhm.
We hit 23 cities in 90 days. We drove from Toronto to San Diego
Hmm.
and back
Wow.
in 90 days. Yeah, it was a wild tour. I broke my neck through it, and we still continue to tour, all sorts of crazy stuff. But about halfway through the tour, I was on tour talking about something else. And the reason for going on the tour is to do difficult things, because speaking was, I didn't want to disappoint people.
Hmm.
And so I said, you know what? Let's attack my biggest fear every 4 days. New city, let's go. Here we go again. New audience every 4 days. Let's do it. And the question people kept asking me was, how do I find my purpose? How do I find my passion? What am I supposed to do? How do I don't have direction.
Hmm.
And I would say, well, that's super easy. You don't have to sit on top of a mountain for 10 years and meditate, or hire a $50,000 business coach or something. You just have to go through the who, why, how process. I go, what's the who, why, how process? And so I broke it down, and, people start crying and figuring out, like, now they finally have direction, clarity. And then the next person says, hey, pick me, do me. I want to do it too. Like, okay. And the seminars became about the who, why, how process to find your
Yeah.
purpose. And so I'm halfway through the tour, and we're in a coffee shop, and I decide, you know what? This is too important to just keep it for me and the people who come out to my workshops. I need to write it as a book. And I never planned on writing another book, but it just felt like it needed to be written as a book.
Yeah.
And this is, again, where it's just jump in, just do it, right? I had no time to write a book. I'm on tour. Every 4 days I'm speaking, had to prepare for that. Every 4 days we're traveling and have to get to the next city. Every 4 days we're also taking one day off to see the city and try the food, because my wife wanted to see the local culture and everything. So I'm behind on everything, every project, every team member. Like I'm drowning in what I have to do, because I'm trying to squish a 7-day or 5-day work week into like 1 day.
Yes.
So I'm behind on everything. And now I decide to write a book. Are you kidding me? But don't judge your big ideas and just jump in. If I didn't jump in, Built to Serve wouldn't have been written. So at that coffee shop, I told my team, and I told people I was working with, like, hey, I need some time, because I'm starting a new book. Whatever problems you guys are dealing with, I trust you to solve them, because I got to write this book right now. And that's where most of the book was written.
Mm-hmm. So why is it important to know who to serve, and why?
Why is it important to have direction in your life, right?
Yeah.
I think most people wake up and they don't know what to do. Most people wake up and feel like today doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter. Today doesn't matter. If I show up or not, it doesn't really matter. The work I'm doing doesn't really matter. I think that's how most people, what they think of when they wake up. And that's really sad, because you have a giant purpose inside you, and you want to help and you want to serve. And so finding out how to do that is an unlock that you can use for the rest of your life. If you think about, who Brenda was 5 years ago or 10 years ago, what you've done now is impossible.
Yes, I wasn't ready.
Impossible. Like Brenda, if you went back in time and talked to Brenda from 2010 and said, hey, Brenda, in 10 years, this is what you're going to be doing,
I would have said, no way.
No way. What are you talking about? It's not possible. There's no way. No way. Right? And that's you. You've done it. You're talking to yourself, right? Let alone what you can still become. And so who you want to help are the people who currently are younger Brenda. And not younger age-wise, just younger from mindset and the problems that you are dealing with. You are an impossibility, but you're here. And that impossibility represents hope, represents inspiration, and can also be a plan to help somebody get through. So we love serving. We love helping. Serving others is hardwired into our brain. But there's different kinds. Like buying the coffee for somebody in line might make you feel good for the moment. But finding a younger Brenda and seeing what she struggled with and having a conversation with her and seeing her eyes open up to say, holy cow, this might actually be possible, will fill you up on such a greater level that is intoxicating. You'll want to do that for the rest of your life. And I want people to get addicted to that. I want people to get addicted to service, to helping others, because it is actually hardwired into us and we want to do it. And the people who will love helping the most are the
Yes.
people who currently are who we used to be.
That's awesome. That's a great message. Great advice. Okay, so in your book, Built to Serve, there was a quote in there. It says, "A great way to start with no money is with service, not a product."
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean?
I love it. Actually, I don't usually get asked these questions. This is great. So Brenda's done her homework. She's read the book. I made the first part of the book is about finding your purpose, but I made the second part about how to actually make money doing it. Because if you can't make money doing your purpose, then it's only going to be something you can do in the evenings and the weekends. Meanwhile, you still have to go to some job that you probably don't like because you have to earn money to live.
Yes.
So I want to teach people how to actually make money from their purpose so they can make it their full-time thing and then bring on a team, be happier, and have a bigger impact. It's a lot better to start with a service than a product for a couple of reasons. One, it doesn't take up any money. At the beginning, the biggest problem is people don't have money to start. So if you told me, hey, Evan, I'm Brenda. I've got $5 million to start this business. What should I do? That's a different story. But that's not what most people do. Most people are in debt or have very little money. And so I don't want you to spend more money on some idea that may not work out. I want you to prove to yourself that it can work. So you start with a service. What are you good at? What service can you provide to other people that solves a problem? And how can you get paid to do that? You get super close to your customers. You learn about their problems. You learn what they're going through. You can adjust a service much faster than you can adjust a product.
Yes.
So many people start with a product and they create a t-shirt and then they buy 5,000 t-shirts because that's the scale you need to get the good price points.
Yes.
And then you sell 2. And then you got 4,998 t-shirts sitting in your mom's garage because you can't sell these things. But now you've like that might have been your only shot because you went into debt to buy those 5,000 t-shirts, right? You're going to make so many mistakes at the beginning. That's better to do it while you're nimble and lean. And the service is a much easier way to do that than to launch with a product. It might work with a product, but the chances are super low. And I want people to get the results out of their business.
Yeah, I understand, because when I first started my handmade business, I would buy all this material and I would make all these earrings, and then I would promote them, and then people would just buy a certain design. So that was my learning lesson, that first you have to test it out to see if they like them, to see if which one do they like, instead of buying more material or buying a certain type of material. That's what I learned.
If you're in fashion, I would do mock-ups. The service is to create the mock-ups. You create the design for your earring, and then if you get an order, then you sell it. You actually go and build it, and you buy the materials and everything else around it.
Oh, it's like a print on demand.
I love print on demand. Yeah, print on demand should definitely be the first step. The idea that if you're selling, especially like earrings, might be a little harder to do print on demand because yours are beautiful and have intricate designs and everything. But if you want to be a hoodie company or a t-shirt company or something, the chances of your design, your first design, crushing it are pretty much zero. The chance that your first earring that you make is going to be the one that makes you $1 million is probably zero, right?
Yes.
You're going to make so many mistakes and you're not going to know what you're doing. And so, but that's what people do though. They go and they buy 5,000 t-shirts and then they took their shot and now they have no money to ever do anything else again. So print on demand is fantastic. All it takes is your time. I'm a big believer at the beginning, invest in your time, not your money. So you put your time into it. You do your print on demand. You're not making a lot of money. That's what people look at. I don't make a lot per t-shirt. Yeah, but you have zero risk. When you buy 5,000 t-shirts, that's a giant risk that you're taking on, right? So they're looking only at the upside without the downside. I want people to protect their downside. So you do some designs and you see until you get some sales. You could always take it off the print on demand service and then go buy 5,000 of your own t-shirts and have a customer list to then sell to. But at the beginning, I love print on demand. I think it's genius. I think everybody should try it. Just think about, how do I start this business and be resourceful so I'm not spending money? Invest your time, your energy, your hustle, your drive, but not your money until you're making some money.
Thank you for that. Okay, so let's move on to collaboration. This was the year of collaboration for me because I did 2 collaborations with these wonderful women, and then I wanted to make my own collaboration with people I choose. So sometimes it's a little hard because I feel some people don't take it serious, or some people don't put in the work like I want it to be done. But what are some qualities that you need for a collaboration to work?
Yeah, and I know we're bumping up against the clock on the time, but I would say it has to be values first.
Uh-huh.
What do you value? So if you're talking about just jump in and love is what you're trying to spread, you need somebody who's like that too. If you want to just jump in and somebody is like this crazy Uber planner and doesn't care about love, it's going to be hard for you guys really to work together. But I think the way to approach it is to actually just jump in on something. This right now is a collaboration. Yeah. We're doing it. We are collaborating. Then we have 25 minutes together. This is it. It's happening. And then what you do is pay attention to the energy. Is this somebody that you want to do something else with, to keep going and doing more work with? Or it's like, ooh, that was okay. That was a good little stretch, but no, I'm gonna go move on to another direction. I think the best way to do a collaboration, to judge somebody, isn't to do a questionnaire or to do an interview with them, like a job interview. It's to actually work on something together.
Oh, okay.
Work on something small together. Design one earring together. Do one show together. Like, do one small thing together. Just like before you get married, you date somebody, usually. So your goal of a first date isn't to marry the person. Your goal after the first date is to see if you want to go on a second date, and then a third date, and it blossoms hopefully into a relationship. Same thing with collaborations and partners. Don't worry about finding, your husband on the first day.
Yes.
You're on dates. You're saying yes. You're collaborating with people. You're spreading love, and you see who's giving you that love back in a way that you feel it, that you feel better about yourself after that collaboration together. Not you feel like, oh my God, I had to do everything. That person was terrible. Like, you saved yourself from going down a bigger path. So the best way to test it out is by doing it, by going on the date.
Oh, awesome. Thank you very much. So last question before you go. What are you working on that your future self would thank you for?
Besides talking to Brenda here on her show, I don't have a specific micro. The macro is helping people believe in themselves more, right? Like, I wake up every day trying to figure out, how can I help people believe in themselves more? From the interviews I do, to the books that I write, to the speeches that I do, to the videos that I make, it's all in the aims of, how do I help people believe in themselves more, to just jump in, to just do the thing, to start building momentum, progress. And hopefully, 85-year-old Evan looks back at 40-year-old Evan and says, you're doing a good job.
Oh, thank you very much, Evan.
Cool. Thank you, Brenda. Love your energy. Appreciate you having me on, and best of luck in building out the show.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Have a good day.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.
If you want to see another awesome interview I did, check the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.